Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? For the second time in a row, I wasn't going to make any type of prediction video when it comes to this Mikey Garcia fight against Burgos. And the reason why is because as good as Mikey Garcia is, he does have his flaws. And, a lot of times he goes into these fights, I see these fights as going either way. This was another fight that I seen could go either way against Burgos. And if you guys watched the first couple rounds, that's exactly how it looked. If you didn't know who Burgos was and you didn't know who Mikey Garcia was, you would not have known who the star was. Okay? And that's the reason why I didn't do a prediction video for this. But I have to give Mikey Garcia credit when credit is due. He got rocked again in the second fight in a row, and he came back and he really rallied pretty well. Of course, Mikey Garcia's biggest weapon is his power. I think Mikey Garcia is one of the strongest fighters in the sport of boxing right now. He seems to be extremely strong. That was what saved him in this fight, as far as I'm concerned, because Burgos started off really well. He came out with an excellent jab. I mean, from the first two rounds, it really looked like Burgos was going to give Mikey Garcia all that he could handle. He had an excellent jab. He was pumping it out quick and stiff. He was countering. He looked like he was really in there thinking and giving Garcia some problems. But once again, credit shifts to Mikey Garcia because Mikey Garcia, he also showed tremendous counterpunching ability in there, which I was pretty impressed with. And then later on, Burgos, well, let me say this. At the beginning, Burgos had a lot of confidence. And he was looking really good, like I said, in the first couple of rounds. But as the rounds went on, Mikey Garcia's power started to discourage Burgos. And then the fight started to look kind of like the Guillermo Rigo versus Joseph Agbeko fight. In fact, we started to get the boos in the crowd. And, the fight started to slow down. But it wasn't Mikey Garcia's fault. It was totally Burgos' fault because Burgos, he felt that power and he basically started to give up. And he started to just think about surviving and not getting knocked out. So because of that, the fight, it kind of died down. But I think that it was still an impressive performance for Mikey Garcia because he got rocked. He had to figure the guy out. He came back and, he was really on Burgos throughout the fight. In a way, he psychologically made Burgos quit, just like Rigo did against Joseph Agbeko. All right? And we know how those double standards go, but that's for another video. But anyway, so like I said, it was a really good performance for Mikey Garcia. I mean, it wasn't a flawless performance at all for Mikey Garcia. He got the job done. I still haven't seen him really, step up in competition and just dominate a guy. So, that's something that you got to think about when it comes to Mikey Garcia. He's good enough to obviously to become champion for quite some time, depending on who he fights. But there's obviously going to be some fighters out there that are going to give him some serious problems. And while we're talking about that, let's go ahead and bring up Gamboa. This is the fight that HBO wants to see. You guys may recall when Gamboa was with Top Rank, he was actually on the HBO highlights when HBO Boxing first comes on, and you know how they show Manny Pacquiao, they used to show Floyd Mayweather, they show all the biggest stars, on the network. Giorgio Gamboa, he used to be on the HBO highlights, which kind of shows you how much HBO likes Gamboa. So this is the fight that HBO has been craving for. This is the fight that the fans want to see. And this is the fight that the Mikey Garcia fans want to see. I don't know if any of you guys have been watching ES News, Elliot Setback, but man, he did an interview with Mikey Garcia right next to his fans which really didn't do any favors for Mikey Garcia, because these Mikey Garcia fans standing right next to Mikey Garcia, Elliot Setback is asking them, who do you want to see Mikey Garcia fight? It's about 4 or 5 of them sitting there right in front of Mikey Garcia, right? And they all say Gamboa, right? And then, the camera switches to Mikey and he just smiling with this awkward smile. And then Ellie, he asked the Mikey Garcia fans, so if he couldn't fight Gamboa, who else would you like him to fight? And they say, only Gamboa. There's no one else to fight. Only Gamboa. This is what Mikey Garcia fans are saying right in front of Mikey, right? So everyone wants to see this fight. The only people who don't want to see this fight are Team Garcia and the die-hard Garcia fans who deep down they know that Gamboa has a very good chance of beating Mikey Garcia. And I want you guys to understand something. I think that that's a very competitive fight. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that, either one of these fighters will win by just a wipeout landslide, okay? It's a competitive fight. But the point is, Robert Garcia, Mikey Garcia's trainer and older brother, he just recently said in an article a couple days ago that they're never going to fight Gamboa, right? And what's so interesting about this is I remember about 2 years ago after Gamboa had knocked out Roger Matagua, they asked Robert Garcia what he thought about putting his fighter in there with Gamboa. And Robert Garcia, he said that Mikey Garcia is not ready for Gamboa. Okay? Now fast forward to today, and now Garcia is saying we ain't never going to fight Gamboa. Now he trying to use the Brandon Rios, he's trying to pull the Brandon Rios excuse and basically say, we're not going to ever fight him again because what happened with the Brandon Rios situation. Even though, those two things have nothing to do with each other. And we all know this is a new excuse. This is not something that he's been saying since then. This is a new excuse. Not only that, but you got problems when all the fans want to see the fight and HBO wants to see the fight. That excuse, it won't stand. And I know the Mikey Garcia fans, you're going to start to send some ridiculous messages, but it really doesn't matter, guys. It really doesn't matter. This is the fight that needs to happen at 130 or 135 pounds. Now, let me play devil's advocate real quick, and let me just say, if I were Robert Garcia, I would probably say the same thing. I would probably say, I don't want to fight Gamboa. And the truth would be, is because I know that Gamboa is too damn good. See, this is what you guys have to understand when it comes to Mikey Garcia. And I keep telling you guys this. Mikey Garcia, as strong of a puncher as he is, as smart, because he's a pretty decent, smart boxer. All right? Mikey Garcia, he lacks inside game. He has no inside game. If you guys watched the Burgos fight, as the rounds went on, later rounds, when Burgos had pretty much gave up, Mikey Garcia, he was chasing Burgos around the ring. He even had that aggressive high guard, which usually means you're about to go in the inside and start chopping away at the body, and trying to take your guy out, right? Mikey Garcia was chasing this guy all around the ring, but it was always to land a straight punch. It was never really to get in the inside with hooks and uppercuts because Mikey Garcia is not comfortable on the inside, all right? But you know who is comfortable on the inside? Gamboa is. Gamboa is extremely comfortable on the inside. And if you guys have watched his his knockout highlights, there's a lot of his knockouts where he catches you, only inches away from you with some of the shortest hooks and uppercuts and quick right hands. because he can fight on the inside with ease. And that's something that Mikey Garcia is not comfortable at doing, fighting on the inside. So, that would be a hell of an uphill battle for Mikey Garcia. Robert Garcia, he understands this, and so does Mikey. They understand how tough of a fight that would be. So, yeah, if I was Robert Garcia, if I was anybody on Mikey Garcia's team, I would be telling Mikey, yeah, you probably don't want to fight that dude Gamboa. You probably want to go ahead and fight someone else. So, obviously, since Bob Arum is running out of fighters to face Manny Pacquiao, he's thinking about putting Mikey Garcia in there with Manny Pacquiao, which, like I said, from a business standpoint, it makes sense for Mikey Garcia to duck Gamboa and fight Manny Pacquiao instead. Matter of fact, as crazy as this may sound to you guys, I think Garcia has a better chance against Manny Pacquiao than he does against Gamboa. And if that's the case, then he should avoid Gamboa and go straight to Manny Pacquiao. The only way I would have Mikey Garcia fight Gamboa first is if Mikey Garcia was a better fighter. And Mikey Garcia is not a better fighter. He is a good fighter. Now, don't get me wrong. Mikey Garcia is an excellent fighter. And, it's possible that he could crack the top 10 and be somewhere in the bottom of the top 10 one of these days. But the point that I'm making is he is not the type of fighter that you could throw in there with Gamboa and be guaranteed that he'll win. That's not happening, okay? And to Mikey Garcia's credit, there's not too many people who could really go in the ring with Gamboa and have somewhat of a guaranteed win. But unfortunately for Mikey Garcia, Gamboa is in his division, is around his division. This is the fight that HBO wants. So, and this is the fight that even Mikey Garcia's fans want. So there's a lot of pressure for him to take the fight. But the bottom line is it makes more sense for him to fight against Manny Pacquiao. So, that's a fight that I would really like to see. I think that Mikey Garcia, he has a lot of power, and if the fight was at 135 or 140, I think he may be able to carry that power to 140, and it would be a really good fight. It would be a really good fight, really competitive fight. Okay, so yeah, man, we'll see what happens after Manny Pacquiao fights Tim Bradley, which obviously is not a guaranteed win. Matter of fact, a lot of people believe that Manny Pacquiao is actually the underdog in a fight that many people said that he was robbed in the first fight. Now, the majority of people, I've been checking all these, websites, and, when you drop down and scroll the comments that people are leaving, a lot of people are picking Tim Bradley to beat Manny Pacquiao. So, this has to be the first time, one of the first times in history where people said that one guy was robbed, and then once the rematch comes around, the majority of people are picking the guy who, quote unquote, got a gift decision. How crazy is that, right? But anyway, so I look forward to seeing what happens in the next couple of months. It should be pretty interesting. No matter what happens, it'll be pretty interesting. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Congratulations to Mikey Garcia. He did have a good performance over Burgos. And I'll catch up with you guys. I'm on to the next one.